What's up guys, Jimmy or Chaos, welcome back to another Top 10, and video games are full of surprises, and as the gaming industry continues to grow and becomes more cinematic, developers have been starting to cover more adult themes in video games. This wasn't always this way. Sex wasn't always something that we expected in video games, and even today, it sometimes takes us by surprise. So, I present to you 10 video games with surprise nudity. And remember to hit that like button, subscribe, and click that little bell so you guys stay notified of any new top 10s that I have. And don't worry, we are going to keep this pretty clean despite the topic.
10.
Kicking off this top 10 is none other than the classic Metroid. While we may know Samus Aran was a badass female bounty hunter today, when it was first revealed that there was a girl under the armor, it wasn't done in a very super tasteful way. In the original Metroid, finishing the game got you a glimpse of the true identity of your character, which was a shocker to everybody, and it was a woman in her underwear or a bikini that was waving at you. While this may not seem like a super nude scene to you guys or surprise nudity, you can't say you saw this scene coming when you actually first played Metroid, and during this time period, this was pretty shocking.
9.
At the number 9 spot is Heavy Rain. Now, this game is clearly aimed at adults, and it covers some very, very dark themes. The shower scene was very unexpected in this game. When Madison needs to unwind in one scene, she decides to take a long, hot shower. Just about everything is on display to the player. It is worth noting that Heavy Rain covered adult themes in a much more mature way than any other video game on this list, but it still earns a spot for how unexpected this sequence with Madison was when you first did this playthrough.
8.
At number 8 is Dante's Inferno, otherwise known by some people in the gaming community as the God of War ripoff that flew under the radar, but it was a very interesting take on Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy. Now, the player follows a knight descending through the 9 circles of hell in order to save his love. Awesome, right? However, when you get to the 8th ring, which is lust, things get a little weird. The ring is run by a giant nude Queen Cleopatra, who looks down upon you as you cut through her minions. And Cleopatra has some mammary gland issues going on, and it's definitely one of the most distracting bosses that we've ever had to battle, and very surprising nonetheless.
7.
Old video games are not immune to surprise nudity. At number 7, we have Conker's Bad Fur Day. Now, not everybody may be familiar with this game. It was a critically acclaimed rareware title for the N64, and it was jam-packed with adult content. If you've ever heard of Leisure Suit Larry, that is kind of the vibe that Conker's Bad Fur Day gives. Swearing, drinking, sex jokes, you name it, this game had it. However, no amount of crudeness could have prepared you for the encounter with the topless female sunflower with massive boobs that the player had to bounce on in order to proceed. I don't think that's how pollination actually works, and it was definitely a surprise for the first time whenever you played this game and experienced it.
6.
Okay, you can't have a surprise nudity top 10 without Grand Theft Auto 5 being on there, or the Grand Theft series in general. Coming in at number 6, GTA Grand Theft Auto 5 is known for having plenty of sexual content. I mean, come on, you can bang hookers and then you can shoot them. GTA is one of the most dirtiest franchises ever created in the video game universe, but you can't say that you expected to see Trevor's junk when you played through this open world crime adventure game. And most of the missions with Trevor end up being hilarious. This one is absolutely fitting in that category. While it fits Trevor's character, many criticize it as being a little over the top. So showing boobs is fine, but nuts is a no-go. Got it. We'll remember that.
5.
Now let's crack into the top 5. At number 5, we have Metro Last Light. The Metro series is a very dark and grim and critically acclaimed series following a community of survivors in a post-apocalyptic world. The tone of the game is very serious and not exactly somewhere you'd expect to find a GT-esque strip club, yet it is there. And that's what we get in Metro Last Light, when you have the chance to pay for a very lengthy lap dance from a fully topless stripper. Surprise nudity at its finest.
4,
Taking the number 4 spot is Fahrenheit. This game, known as an Indigo Prophecy in North America and Fahrenheit everywhere else, it was actually double named if you will, was developed by Quantic Dream, who would later go on to make Heavy Rain, which you guys can see the similarities in what we are talking about. Given this information, you can guess that this had plenty of mature themes. Released in 2005, it featured a lot of nudity and sex scenes, so much so that most all of them were cut out in the North American version of the game. This could also be considered a good thing, though, considering how incredibly awkward some of these sex scenes in Fahrenheit were, complete with the player interaction and an awful soundtrack to boot.
3,
At number 3, we have Enemy Zero. Chances are you have probably never heard of this title, but you'll want to give it a shot after you watch this video. Enemy Zero was released in 1996 as one of the few survival horror titles for the Sega Saturn, and despite solid reviews, no one really cared about it upon its release. The game didn't really have any sexual content or adult themes throughout the story, but for whatever reasons, if you finished the game and decided to play it a second time through, you were treated to an awkward shower scene at the beginning of your next playthrough. Kind of a bonus, a gift, if you will, for making it through the first world. Perhaps if they use this as a selling point, more people would actually remember this title to this day.
2,
Coming in at number 2, and quite frankly, this could have been number 1, The Witcher 2. Most people probably would have expected copious amounts of nudity from the Witcher series, but those that are unfamiliar with this franchise, The Witcher 2 Assassins of the Kings, probably came as quite a shock when you popped this game in and starting exploring the world. One of the very first scenes in the game involves Geralt and Triss waking up together in a bed completely naked. And this was only the beginning of all the sex that was to come in this game. If you were a fan of the Witcher series at the time of release, you probably expected this, and you were probably, I don't know, maybe looking forward to it, I don't know. But if you bought the game just for a good RPG and you wanted to explore something new, and you had no idea that it had this tone, you were probably pretty shocked when you started playing this game and realized how sexually oriented the actual entire game really was.
1,
Taking the number 1 spot on today's top 10 is Far Cry 3. This game was a massive success, both critically and commercially. And for those of you that have never played Far Cry, the series is known for its open-ended storytelling and multiple possible endings. I strongly encourage you to go try all of the Far Crys if you never had. And at the end of Far Cry 3, the player has a choice to make, and that choice is to either save his friends and escape the island, which most people would do, or to kill all of his friends and join Citra, the island leader. And I'm sure there were some people that did that when nobody was watching. Should you choose to stay on the island with Citra, you and Citra engage in quite the sex scene. Unfortunately, once you finish, she stabs you. And so maybe it wasn't a happy ending at all, but hey, at least you went out on top. No pun intended. And that is it for the video today. Drop a like on the video if you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section what top 10 video game themed video you would like to see next. And I'll see you guys next time.